Princess Elara was no ordinary princess. Her laughter could summon the winds, her tears could freeze rivers solid. She possessed magic so ancient, so potent, that it frightened even the court sorcerers. Her father, the king of the Snow Kingdom, loved her dearly. But he also feared her power. He saw it as a threat, a storm brewing within his own bloodline. The king tried to understand Elara's magic. He brought in scholars and mages from distant lands. They performed rituals and whispered incantations. But Elara's power remained a mystery. Some whispered that she was touched by the ancient beings of the mountains. Others claimed she was the embodiment of winter's fury. The king, desperate to control what he couldn't comprehend, kept Elara isolated. He confined her to the castle, surrounding her with guards who trembled at her slightest frown. Elara felt suffocated. She yearned for freedom, for friendship, for someone who saw her not as a weapon, but as simply Elara. The castle walls felt like a cage, her powers a burden. One icy night, driven by a longing for a life beyond fear and control, she decided to flee. She couldn't bear the thought of another day spent as a prisoner in her own home. She gathered her courage along with a few essential belongings and prepared to face the unknown.
I must find my own path, Elara whispered to herself. I will not be a prisoner of my own power.
Elara, my dear, the king murmured to the empty room, I hope you find the peace you seek.
The night was clear, the moon a silver coin in the sky. Elara, cloaked in a dark fur, slipped past the sleeping guards. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. Fear threatened to consume her, but the desire for freedom was stronger. She wouldn't be a prisoner any longer. She wouldn't be a weapon. She journeyed north, towards the towering peaks that marked the border of her father's kingdom. The further she traveled, the colder it became. The air grew thin, making it difficult to breathe. Yet she pressed on. The thought of her father's reaction fueled her determination. He wouldn't understand, she knew that. He only saw her power, not the yearning heart it held captive. Days turned into weeks. Exhaustion gnawed at her, but she couldn't rest. Not yet. Not until she was beyond the reach of her father's fear. She stumbled upon a small village nestled at the foot of a glacier. The villagers, hardened by the unforgiving climate, were wary of the young woman who appeared out of the blizzard.
Please, I need shelter, Elara pleaded, revealing her face.
To her surprise, they didn't recoil in fear. Instead, they spoke of a legend, a guardian of the north who resided beyond the glacier.
There is a man named Caelum, one villager said, who can control the very essence of ice and snow.
He doesn't like interactions with strangers, but maybe, just maybe, he would understand. With renewed hope, Elara set her sights on the distant mountains, ready to find Caelum. Caelum's home was a fortress of ice, carved into the heart of the glacier. He was as imposing as the mountains themselves, tall and broad-shouldered, with eyes as blue as the glacial ice. When Elara told him her story, her voice trembling with exhaustion and fear, he listened with an intensity that made her heart race.
I don't know what to do, Elara confessed, her voice barely a whisper. I'm so scared.
He saw past her powers, past the fear that clung to her like a shadow. He saw her strength, her vulnerability, her loneliness.
You are not alone, Elara, Caelum said softly. You have me now.
He offered her shelter, not as a princess, but as a person in need. He understood the burden of power, the isolation it could bring. Caelum became her confidant, her protector, her friend.
Thank you, Caelum, Elara said, her voice filled with gratitude. For everything.
He taught her how to control her powers, not to suppress them, but to channel them, to find balance within the storm. He showed her the beauty of the north, the way the wind whispered through the ice, the way the snow sparkled under the midnight sun. For the first time in her life, Elara felt truly free. Free from the expectations of her birthright, free from the fear that had haunted her since childhood. With Caelum, she could simply be Elara.
You are stronger than you know, Caelum told her, his voice filled with admiration.
And in the stillness of the frozen north, love blossomed, as delicate and beautiful as a snowflake, yet as powerful as an avalanche. Spring arrived, melting away the harsh edges of winter. The ice fortress seemed to shimmer under the pale sunlight. Elara, her heart brimming with a newfound joy, realized she was with child. The realization hit her with the force of a blizzard. Joy warred with fear, excitement with uncertainty. This child, born of love and magic, would possess power unlike any other. She confided in Caelum, her voice trembling as she revealed her secret.
Caelum, I'm pregnant, Elara whispered, her voice barely audible. He listened, his expression unreadable, the silence stretching between them like a frozen wasteland.
Elara, this is unexpected, Caelum finally said, his voice rough with emotion. But I will stand by you, no matter what you decide. He promised, no matter what she decided. But he couldn't deny the fear that gnawed at his own heart. The thought of returning to the Snow Kingdom filled Elara with dread.
How can I face my father? Elara wondered aloud, her voice trembling. How could she explain the choices she had made, the life growing within her? The thought of raising her child in the shadow of her father's fear, of her child being used as a weapon, was unbearable. Elara found herself at a crossroads. I must choose a path, she said, determination hardening her voice. One path led back to the familiar comfort yet suffocating control of her father's kingdom. The other path led to an uncertain future, fraught with danger and prejudice. But it was a path she would walk with Caelum by her side, a path that promised freedom and love.
Sleep offered little solace. Elara tossed and turned, her mind a whirlwind of anxieties. One night, a vivid dream seized her. She found herself in a meadow, bathed in moonlight. Before her stood a woman of ethereal beauty, her eyes shimmering with ancient wisdom. I am the goddess of the supernatural, whispered a voice in Elara's mind.
Who are you? Elara asked, her voice trembling.
The goddess spoke of Elara's power, a gift, not a curse.
But I don't understand, Elara replied, confusion clouding her eyes.
The child growing within you is a beacon of hope for a world teetering on the brink of chaos, the goddess said.
A beacon of hope? Elara echoed, her hand instinctively moving to her belly.
Love is the most powerful magic of all, capable of conquering even the deepest fears, she continued.
Love, Elara whispered, tears welling up in her eyes.
Your father's fear stems from a lack of understanding, the goddess said, her voice a melody that resonated deep within Elara's soul.
How can I make him understand? Elara asked, desperation in her voice.
Show him the truth, Elara. Show him the strength that lies in love, in acceptance, in unity. The path ahead may be fraught with challenges, but you are not alone. You carry the strength of your ancestors within you, the love of a true guardian by your side, and the hope of a new generation in your heart. Elara awoke with a start, the dream lingering like morning mist. The goddess's words resonated within her, a guiding light in the darkness. She knew what she had to do. She would return to the Snow Kingdom, not as a scared girl, but as a woman, a mother, a queen in her own right. She would face her father, not with defiance, but with compassion, with understanding, with the unwavering belief in the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. Elara's journey had been arduous, filled with trials that tested her spirit and resolve. But with the goddess's guidance fresh in her mind, she returned to the Snow Kingdom, her heart brimming with newfound courage and wisdom. The kingdom, once shrouded in an icy veil of fear and misunderstanding, now began to thaw under Elara's unwavering belief in the power of love. She approached the palace gates, her steps steady and her gaze resolute. The guards, recognizing the strength and serenity in her eyes, opened the gates without hesitation. Inside the grand hall, her father awaited, his face a mixture of sternness and worry. Elara took a deep breath and stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. Father, I have returned not to defy you, but to show you the truth, she said. The power I possess is not a curse, but a gift that can bring hope and healing to our kingdom. Her father's eyes softened as he listened, the barriers of fear and misunderstanding beginning to crumble. Elara spoke of the goddess's message, of love's transformative power, and of the bright future that lay ahead if they embraced unity and acceptance. Moved by her words and the undeniable truth in her eyes, her father finally understood. He stepped forward, his expression one of remorse and newfound respect. My daughter, he said, his voice breaking, I see now that I was wrong. Your strength, your love, it is what our kingdom needs. Elara's heart swelled with relief and joy. The people of the Snow Kingdom gathered, witnessing this moment of reconciliation and hope. Cheers erupted, and the air filled with a sense of renewal and celebration. In a grand ceremony, Elara was crowned as the beloved queen. The snowflakes danced around her, glistening like diamonds in the winter sun. She smiled, her heart at peace, knowing she had found her true home. The kingdom celebrated her bravery, her love, and her unwavering belief in the power of unity. Elara's journey had come full circle, and she stood as a beacon of hope, a testament to the strength that lies within us all. As the celebrations continued, Elara looked out over her kingdom, the snowflakes swirling in a joyous dance. She knew that this was just the beginning. With love as her guiding light, she would lead her people into a future filled with hope, harmony, and endless possibilities.